It being 4 o'clock on whatever the day of September it is, call our Finance Committee meeting to order. We have a quorum, and we're probably being recorded, at least voice recording, if not camera. So, any public comment before we get into our agenda? We have minutes in our packet. Motion to approve them, or people want to have more time to look at them, or changes you would like to see made?
No edits for me. I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we're going to spend the balance of the afternoon going through the warrant, and it would be my hope that we get all the way through it and get our motions done, and what discussion that we need to have completed. And Libby and Town Administration have been gracious enough to provide us with a warrant with draft motions. And so why don't we jump in on Article number 1, which is the... Hi, Chris. Article number 1, which is zoning bylaw amendment for retail marijuana moratorium. The planning board, as you can see, voted to support this temporary moratorium. Anything that we would like to comment on, or do we want to just accept the planning board's recommendation?
I think I've heard enough.
Anybody else?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. So, could I have a motion, which I guess ought to say that the Finance Committee supports the Planning Board motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 2, as you recall, is companion to 1, and it's really a backup, which would put a zoning bylaw amendment, and I believe the Planning Board has also recommended favorably on that. Any comments that we would like to make?
No.
If not, have a motion to support the Planning Board's recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 3, local option tax on the sale of recreational marijuana. So here, this is put in forward by the selectmen. It increases the what I think we already approved, as we've discussed, a local tax from either 2 or 2.5% to 3%, which is allowed by statute. Any discussion on this? Is there any earmark?
I was going to say that earmark. Where's
it go?
Yeah.
Like the black hole of the general fund?
Probably,
We can't specifically figure
direct.
I mean, is this an opportunity to beef up the social services contributions
It's an excellent idea.
as a way of having it, be useful? Not that going into the general fund isn't a useful application, but
Oh, makes sense. I think like the embarkation fee goes towards summer expenses. I think this could go towards drug treatment, rehabilitation, other social
Education,
services.
yeah.
The embarkation fee by law goes to that. I don't think the law specifies where it's supposed to go, but we could.
No, not the state law, but we could put our own collars around how the money's spent.
is that something you all could work on to bring to? Does it have to come to town meeting, do you think, for approval, or can you all, with the selectmen, earmark it?
Why don't we do a little work on this and let you know for this meeting? And if there's still time to make a comment, maybe you want to do that. Otherwise, maybe you would have a special for the at the special. We'll need to talk to town council about it.
would it be useful to make a comment right here for this warrant?
Well, what I'm thinking is, yes, if it's allowed by law. I mean, I hear what you're saying, even if it's not, could we internally sort of direct that to happen?
So we could suggest.
Or make a recommendation?
Well, I think a comment below, we would accept the motion as written. And then a comment would be that we would recommend that the town consider diverting whatever funds are raised to this.
Direct
To
By
a-
law, you can't appropriate money for other years. You'd have, I don't know. Yeah, that's why maybe the town council could answer better.
In the interest of clarity, if we can't actually make this binding, that this money is going to be used for a certain purpose or a certain set of expenses, then let's not do it at all.
You can't make it binding.
Okay, well then let's not do it, because these things come up all the time. Visitor services comes and says, I want this money or whatever, because they got a sense of the meeting some years ago, and we find out that it's, not enforceable. So, why are we doing it? I mean, if it makes us feel good, I vote for it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's worthwhile.
Does anyone have any kind of market projection about what kind of money we're talking about?
I wouldn't tell you if I do.
Well, with the moratorium, not much.
Yeah.
The next couple of years.
I'm sure the state has some guess at what they're getting. Brian, did they share that?
They did not share.
They didn't share.
Based on per capita.
So we have
Well,
some
I
time
think you
then,
just need
because
to
obviously, you
Colorado
said,
to figure that one out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Colorado was grossing somewhere around 60 to 80 million a year in sales tax,
In the tax.
in tax.
Wow.
How does their tax compare to ours?
It's higher. I just have it up here.
Would the committee be,
It's a 2.9% state sales tax plus an additional 10% marijuana sales tax.
so our state is higher,
So our sales tax is
What are we,
higher.
like 20,
20, I think,
Okay.
including R3? Or
or 23. So, would the committee would it be acceptable to the committee if we asked that the town administration look into ways that the money could be earmarked?
correct.
That we can be involved.
So that, and I'm fine with leaving a comment out if, I appreciate where you're coming from.
Yeah, I just, I think we're just creating trouble for somebody down the road. If you actually aren't bound to spend the money in a certain way, why are we going to
Yeah.
put in a comment that makes it seem like that's the case?
And I'm with Steve, and I also just wonder whether, as the Finance Committee, it's our place to be suggesting sort of social purposes for a new tax. So, I'm not that we can't, but
Yeah, no, I'm... Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the Finance Committee's motion as written in the draft?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 4 is the fire station. As you know, we're not going to have a number until very close to our special town meeting, so we will take up the actual vote on the article right, hopefully not the day of town meeting, but I think it would be appropriate if there's discussion to be had. We have it here now, so that what we're doing is pro forma when we get closer to town meeting. So
You want to have the discussion right now?
I'd rather do it now than 3 days ahead of special
Okay.
town meeting.
So should we pick some hypothetical numbers and say if we'd support this number or that?
Go for it.
Well, if it's 100 million, I'm not in favor. We can pick another one. I don't know. I mean, we don't have any idea of where we are. Is that,
The estimate is 3.8 million. Now, please don't get married to that because the bids are on the street, but based on escalations, John Ember's estimate would be just over 3.8 million. Will be
So-
what we need.
with that number plus or minus, well, probably plus 20%, are we comfortable with that ballpark to?
That's what, 21, 22 in total?
That's just under 21 million. It's 21, 25, 243 is 27, so just right under 21 million.
How many people are bidding?
I don't know how many have pulled everything. I think the files, the sub-bids are due this week, is that? NGC's 2 next week.
I think so.
We don't know how many are bid, it's all done by
I'm surprised
Fox,
it's
that's not
4.
so nobody knows what bid is, how many are in, or anything until it's time.
I mean, for what it's worth, that's sort of in the rough ballpark. I think I would have expected from our conversations about this, whatever, in the spring or before the town meeting back in April. I'm a supporter of building the new fire station. I think it's something the town needs. I think a lot of good work has gone into it, and I don't think anybody's entirely happy that it's come in more expensive, but it's a process we've gone through on a couple of major projects for the town, and I think we should support it.
Other comments?
I just think that we've been over this before where, town meetings voted for the overrides, town meeting voted for the fire station, and so it obviously seems to be the trend.
Well, in the past, they didn't vote for the additional appropriations for this project, but personally, I think we've exhausted all options here. I mean, we've looked at every way to take square footage out of the building. We can't design a smaller building that meets code and fits all of our apparatus. In fact, this design doesn't fit all our apparatus. I don't know that there's any other way to build it that is going to cost less money. So if this is what the number is and we need a new station, then we need to put it to the voters and see if they want to spend the money.
Chief, through you, what apparatus would not be able to be housed in the new building, the new design?
I have to look at that, not very, I have to look to see what would fit.
Did that come up in the committees? Is that,
Yeah, it came up. I think there was, it's not the trucks or ambulances per se. I think it's, rescue boats or, extra stuff that right now obviously isn't
sitting out,
in the...
probably sitting out here?
Yeah, it's sitting out here already, or
Okay.
maybe it's at the airport, or and it'll be on the lot in the back, and there may be some outbuildings down the road, I think is the plan, but not in the initial appropriation. So.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else want to go on record? So,
So if we think it's going to come in at 3.8, what happens if it comes at 4.5? How does that change anything, or does it not? I mean, is
it's
it
up to the
voters?
we heard what
Yeah.
Stephen said, which is, if it's 100 million, no.
Right.
But I think if we're in that ballpark, I guess, what we're trying to do is get a sense from this committee whether we're going to support that or not.
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually have to vote on this until
We
before
have
the
the
special
bids.
town meeting, but I don't want to get into a long, protracted discussion.
No, I'm just curious
Yeah.
if there's a number that people have in mind that they're not comfortable with.
I mean, we're sort of in a rock and a hard place. I mean,
Yes.
Stephen, 100 million, I think we'd all have a heart attack, right, and
Yeah.
throw up our hands. But if it's, my guess is from what all the work the professionals done, it would be surprising if it came in at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. But I suppose it could, and I think at those numbers we'd probably have a lot of questions to ask, as would everyone within the town, as to what changed so dramatically. But having said that, we would probably, and given the path we've been on this for 4 years, I mean, I would think we'd let it go to the voters at that point.
Right. Well, doing nothing just costs us money. That's the thing. It was the same thing with several other projects that we discussed last year. That's it. I have nothing else.
we're hooked.
I guess when we see the number, if you're not comfortable with it, please initiate the conversation.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, moving on to Article 5, the capital project. This is a request for an additional $400,000.
David, just to back up for
Oh,
a
I'm sorry,
second,
Steve.
is
Go
this highlighted comment due to the timing of the bids for the? Is that going to be in the warrant? Is that being
I don't
printed?
think so, is it?
Or is that just for us?
The highlighting for Article 4,
Yeah.
I was planning to put that in the published version of the warrant, yes, because this will have to go to print before
We take a
we
vote.
will be able to finalize the motion.
Gotcha.
But you can, that's just a suggestion. You can,
No, I think that explains
That's
the
fine.
situation well enough.
Yeah.
Actually,
But we have, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that sort of raises an issue, though, given the fact that the voters are going to see the warrant without, with sort of this holding, place in there. I'm not sure I like what I'm about to say, but should we express some comment that, the Finance Committee is in general support of building the new fire station, as long as the incremental comes in at under $5 million? I'm just,
Picking a number.
I don't like that, but part of well, I know you, but part of the reason for the warrant being printed and people reading it in advance is so that they have some sense as to what the Finance
thinking.
Committee is recommending. And to just come into the special town meeting and say, oh, guess what, we all voted an hour ago to approve $4.5 million.
okay.
I mean, and I, like I said that, I'm not sure I like it either, but it occurs to me as it's an issue.
I was going to say that actually I could maybe, if you want, change the wording a little bit to say Finance Committee will provide a motion prior to the special town meeting. Because of the timing of this project in particular, there is no way to do it earlier. It can be done a little bit earlier. The bids are due on the 25th. I communicated with Steve and Brian earlier today about getting a meeting going now with the work group so that we can get right at a review of the bids and then I think maybe shoot for scheduling a FinCom prior to November 1st, which is a Wednesday, for you to review it, and depending on how all this goes, I mean, we just don't know right now, but
Right.
depending on how it goes, you could get your motion out before the special. I mean, we would have to put stuff on the website, we can get an article in the paper on the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Would it-
It's all
yeah.
very.
Yeah, would it be acceptable, Libby, if we had something that indicated that, subject to a review of the final bids, the Finance Committee supports?
I mean, it seems to me giving a supportive comment makes some sense, given that I think we're all kind of admitting to ourselves that it would take a really horrific
Number.
number, for us to change our minds.
Subject to final bids, right? FinCom is likely to support the project?
Or
something
you
like
could
that?
say we support additional appropriation, subject to the bids, right? So we support spending more money.
Right.
We're just not saying how much.
We're going to see the bids and decide. I mean, and I don't think I'm comfortable putting a number in, because I think
No.
it's really more like, if something goes haywire in the bidding process, then it's going to be all bets off, right? If something really unexpected happens in the bidding process, I don't know what that is, a number, but I think we'll know it when we see it. Then I think probably everyone's going to say, unfortunately, we need, we're coming back in 4 months. But if the bidding process sort of goes smoothly,
Yeah.
then we're going to see.
Right, and it
this.
comes in at 3.8 or 3.2 or 4.1, we're probably going to go along.
Yeah. So I'm not crazy about saying, hey, if it's under a number, we recommend it, but I definitely support saying we recommend spending more money.
I just think it makes some sense, given that you want the people who read the warrant to think that we're in favor of this, so.
Want to take a crack at it? I think it's just it's pretty simple. It's subject to,
Yeah, so if we leave the comment as it is, and then we add to it, subject to receipt and review of the bids, the Finance Committee is supportive of an additional appropriation to complete this project. Does that, I mean, maybe somebody wants to clean up one word or another, substitute something, but that's the gist of what we're saying, I think.
finance committee is supportive of the supplemental appropriation for this project.
Mhm.
Great.
And then whatever the formal motion has to be from Sarah or from us.
Yeah, we could strike the first part of that second sentence and add in a number.
And
And
it'll
The,
get projected.
The
Yeah.
final motion that you'll adopt will be written by bond counsel.
Yeah, okay.
With the number. Yeah,
Yep.
and we will. get
And
that
we'll
out.
have, we'll,
Yeah, I actually already have it, except for the number.
okay. And that would get put up on the screen okay.
Yeah, and
So-
that will get put up on the screen, and if you're able to adopt it before Monday, November 6th, we can get it out on the website and
Yeah, we'll deal with that before the 6th. But I think, Joe's got and others have a great point about letting
Mhm.
people know where we sit on it.
Good.
Thank you for bringing us back to that. Article 5, capital project for the airport. An additional $403,000. Since I know I've asked this question before, but just to get fixed in my mind, 95% of the $403,000 is reimbursed.
That's correct.
Can we make that part of our motion or comment so that voters are aware of that?
You could probably make a comment to that fact. I know the bond council wrote a motion.
Okay.
Bar myself, I would be hesitant to change the motion except without just making sure that they were okay. with
Okay.
it.
Can we do a motion and a comment?
Okay,
Would
let's,
be sufficient, I
yeah,
think.
let's take up the motion. Is there any comment specifically on the 403? I mean, we're not going to change the motion, but.
Yeah.
I think the breakdown is the FAA pays 90, the state pays 5,
Five,
and we
yeah.
pay 5.
Yeah. So,
So I'll make a
can I have
motion
a
to-
motion on the actual, the motion that's written here, with the idea that we're going to make a comment?
Okay, so moved. To
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so what do we want to have for a comment?
I think what Cliff just said was good.
Okay. Do you remember what you said, Cliff?
I just said that the FAA pays 90%, while the state pays 5, and we pay the latter, the last 5%. However you want to put that aside.
There's a time difference though too, right? I mean, we pay the whole 400 up front and then we go reimbursed. Just want to be
Yeah.
clear about the
But
mechanism.
Brian said that the reimbursements are pretty smooth, so the cash.
Yeah, no, I'm
flows
totally comfortable
easy.
with it. I just meant for purpose of the comment being accurate.
And am I correct in saying that there's less than 100 basis points of interest on bands?
Yes,
So,
significantly less.
so if you do it as a borrowing in an anticipation, no, it's cheap money.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
completely good conceptually. I just want to make sure the comment was
Okay?
accurate without being confusing.
Did you guys get that?
FAA funds will cover something like, FAA funds will cover 90% of the project, state funds will cover 5, and Port Oregon's cover the remaining 5.
Mhm.
The only thing that I think maybe a little bit confusing is there, if I were reading this, I would wonder if the 403,000 is the 5% or the 100%, because we're asking for an appropriation at our town meeting, so just from a wording. So that's why I might use reimburse
Yeah,
in a
instead of
timely
cover.
manner or something, so to make it
The
clear that
FAA will reimburse
Yes.
10%, the state 5% for use the town.
something like that,
Yeah.
just to
And
clear
that's,
that up.
that's really on the whole project, right? It'll end up being 2.6 million, not 2.2 million.
Correct.
Good point, we'll get it.
Okay, thank you.
Article 6, infrastructure improvements. This is the Mulberry Street, Back Street discussion that we had. Given that I think an agreement was reached with the selectmen and others, and a grid to push this off to town meeting, this looks like an appropriate motion. Is there any discussion?
No, looks good.
Just a question, Libby. Is there going to be other areas on the island that N-Grid's going to be doing work that,
Yeah.
so this is just specific to those two?
This was specific to those two streets because for water, sewer, and stormwater, they were the streets that were water and had funds that they could reappropriate to cover those specific streets, which are in their specific water distribution improvement plan.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in sewer improvement plan, and they're going to be in stormwater, so it wasn't random so much as these are probably among the worst areas for us to get to. The streets are going to be open anyway, and we have funds that we potentially reappropriate. But the area of their project is much wider.
So has N-Grid disclosed fully, and will they bring that plan to Capcom?
Yes, we haven't even gotten that far with them yet. They reached out they responded last week when we asked them where they are. And they said they were putting the project off to 2019, and they would like to meet with us in October about it. So I've told our departments, we're going to have to go to Capcom.
Because it makes sense to share the expense or lessen each other's
Yeah,
expense.
So it's going to be a detailed exercise, though, because it's going to be reconciling some projects that water has with whatever's in the national grid scope. But sewer and stormwater aren't there yet with longer term plans.
Will they be directed as a benefit for everyone in the community to maybe focus a little
Yes.
forward?
But we also have to be mindful of the administrative consent order we're under with DEP for sewer.
Yeah.
So that we don't get too outside of the area that we're to focus on there. So I guess my bottom line is there's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of logistics.
About where we're going to bring forward a project. And, I mean, this may have to be phased. The sewer portion of this could be several $1 million. And
Does the town have any right or responsibility to say to N-Grid, put the brakes on a little bit if they get too ahead of us?
we sort of have done that a little bit, but they are also under mandates from DPU because of the frequency of outages in certain areas of the island, and they are, my understanding is that they're being fined until they can bring their system up to a certain standard that eliminates those types of outages. So they're under a different governmental gun, so to speak.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that at some point we'll get an Android rep to maybe come to Capcom and help provide.
Would it be someone like Steve Holgate, or is it Jim, or is it above them?
They're probably Joe Carmel.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so the motion in front of us, or the proposed motion, is to take no action.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 7 is the Old South Road, or Old South Road diff. The draft motion is to take no action. Any discussion?
Move to adopt the proposed motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Tom Nevers Bike Path, Article 8. This is a citizens article, which would effectively move the bike path out of order, the capital plan. And I think, does this have the effect of requiring it to be moved, or just,
I think town council's advice on this is non-binding,
okay.
advisory only.
All right.
Here's a good opportunity to support the process that we have in place, given that even support of this article wouldn't do anything. We might as well support the process.
Through this, I think, take a motion to take no action.
I would actually think we ought to, are we just discussing, right? I
Yeah.
think we should take, not to adopt. I mean, I think
Well,
we should,
either one.
I think we should
More
thumbs
specific.
down it. I mean, there's a process, this thing is in the pipeline. I mean, I understand you would like the bike pass, but it's not like people haven't been working on it.
And
Right, what-
isn't it in the queue for next year?
Well,
I think the design is
yes,
19, right?
some
Yeah.
money might be appropriated
2021.
in FY19 for design, and then who knows when it'll be built. But I think more salient here is that this is number 8 on the list of priorities for bike paths. I think that's what we heard at the last meeting. I mean, that's not even close.
No. Okay.
So maybe the motion would be not to adopt, and then a comment that there's a process that's in place, and there's a list of prioritized, or there's a prioritized list of bike path projects.
Agreed. I second.
Do we have to take those separately?
All right, yeah, why don't we just take, make your motion just on
Okay,
not
so
to
my
adopt.
motion's not to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, for a comment, we want to just reinforce, it's in the queue, there's capital plan, it's scheduled.
Right. The Finance Committee notes that there's a prioritized list of bike path projects and supports the town's progress to work on those projects, to work on those bike paths in order. Does that work?
Yeah, because you sort of say,
What?
you sort of
Says, say it again.
Yeah. The Finance Committee notes that there is a prioritized list of bike path projects and supports the town's progress on those bike paths. Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
That's fine.
Finance Committee notes there is a prioritized list of bike path projects.
And supports.
Well, why don't
the-
we just say that it's in the capital plan, and it's part of a priority listing of, let's
fine.
just bring it into the capital plan so it ties
That's good.
back
better.
to the process there.
So something like Finance Committee notes this project is in the existing town capital improvement plan, and
Maybe we could even note that there's design funds appropriated or scheduled for fiscal year 19.
If in fact
Are
they're
we
scheduled.
willing to commit to that? Not
Well,
really.
they're
You
scheduled,
said
but
it's
they're
not an
not-
out year.
it's not-
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
approved.
approved.
Okay.
Why don't we just,
Just leave it out there.
yeah.
Kind of liked where you were, just supporting the process of the plan.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Great. You're all set?
I think so.
Try to be more clear on the next one.
Article 9 is the acquisition of that parcel or portion of the parcel on Washington Street.
Seems like a really good deal.
Yeah, if we know where we're going to get the money.
So how's that a motion? Needs a funding source.
Do you know where you're going to get the money?
Okay, this is another one that you might have to do a little bit later, but potentially before the warrant goes to print. The board is discussing this tomorrow night
Okay.
at its meeting, and we have some potential funding sources that they need to decide on. So there's a possibility of free cash, although it's not certified yet, so we wouldn't know that for another couple of weeks. There are a couple of prior year capital projects that we could defer and reappropriate the funds already allocated to them, with the understanding that at some point we're going to have to relook again, want the money again for those projects. But that's pretty much it. So I expect they're going to pick one of those things from,
Okay.
and then I can update this. We're going to have to meet again before we go to print to finish that. Unless you want to just go with whatever they come up with. Even though you
I-
should know that right now.
What if they make you pay for it?
Cut their pound of flesh out of me in many ways. Look, I mean, you've got to find some money to pay for it, otherwise you're not going to go forward. I'm not sure we're going to sit here and, I'm not going to sit here and second guess where it's coming from. Although I am curious how we're going to pay for all the things that we're sort of piecemeal approving over time. But assuming you all can find the money, it makes sense.
I'm a little concerned to hear that we may be tabling one or multiple capital projects that have gone through vetting maybe over the course of years and putting this to the top of the stack without any review from us. I think that would, I'm not willing to say whatever you want to do in that regard
Okay.
is okay.
It's a good thing we didn't commit to that bike path here in your last meeting.
But that's just me.
It's just another Old South Road project we're going to push off.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not realistically going to do the motion without knowing the funding source, right? I think I agree with your comment that we're not going to second guess the funding source, but we're going to have to get together again and
That's fine.
approve this, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But generally, we think it's a good deal. I guess.
Isn't
I
that
guess,
number's
is-
net of something? What-
Is there a sketch of what we're doing here? I mean, my guess is that it's to make a better turning lane,
Yeah,
but
it's one of those
There is a
cottages right
sketch.
there.
I can send it around.
Yeah, it just cuts off right where Crispin's cottages are.
gotcha. I mean, is there any green space left over when
So
we're done?
Yeah,
Is that why
because
land
the-
bank's in?
land bank is
Yeah.
I'm sorry I don't already have it for you, but picture where the new cottages are, right?
Yeah.
And there are, so you picture that lot, there are some cottages that are right on the corner. You wouldn't be able to do the widening on there. So the idea is the cottages
Right.
are all going to be back of the lot. Land bank's going to purchase the sort of middle part, and it'll be park. And then in front of that, the widening of the home.
Nice. So some of these
Yeah,
cottages
it's right here.
remain?
Yeah.
No, I know where it is. I'm
Yeah.
just-
No, but that's the,
Okay.
pick it off. Anyway. Okay. All right, so we're going to put that off, and we're going to have another go-round on this. But you're going to have an answer tomorrow, right?
Yes. You know, you could potentially.
On Thursday.
After your FinCom, Capcom, DOS, yeah, you
Mm.
could do it.
Thursday.
If we have a quorum, we could do it Thursday.
Makes sense.
Maybe you, we've already posted that meeting, so maybe you continue this meeting and you posted anything, but you can post this. You know,
Yes,
Okay.
we don't need to re-advertise that we're discussing these articles.
We could post it, hang on a second, this, information.
Let's,
But we could probably say at the end of the meeting, the chair can say, there's this item that came up. It could work out.
Good.
if we can make it work out, we will,
Great.
without torturing the process. Okay, Article 10 is a open space parcel, the creeks to the land bank.
Move to adopt the motion as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 11, Matacasham. Another transfer. These had all gone by, as you recall, through the real estate committee as well.
Right.
So,
So moved.
Second?
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Article 12, miscellaneous parcels, and the real estate acquisition.
Move to adopt as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Article 13, easement to grid on C Street for the pumping station.
Motion. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
14, this is Linda Williams, conveyance of industrial land. So, any discussion on this?
Did we determine if this is airport land or not?
It's town-owned.
It's town-owned land.
So,
So it's airport.
I started a comment here because these I'm double checking, but these parcels, I believe, already been approved to be leased by town meeting. But I need to confirm that. However, so I started drafting something, and then I thought to myself two things. Number one, if we did argue this, we should say when. Number two, then I thought maybe we don't need to comment at all based on the discussion that we heard at the public hearing the other day, where the desire really seems to be more the airport land, which, as we learned, is already out to RFP.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so I have heard from the sponsor of this article, and I have had a conversation with the airport, and I have the RFPs if anybody wants to look at them. This land is out for lease for $3 a square foot, which brings it in at $130,000 for an annual lease. The airport will only accept one person to be financially responsible, and the proponent, and then the person who is financially responsible can sublet it, so they can divide it up.
Can.
They can do that, yes. But the airport will only accept one person on the lease. And the issue would appear, according to Ms. Williams, that there is not the financial wherewithal for somebody to take on that big of a financial commitment, given who's interested of her people that she's acting for, their ability to financially swing this. So,
Is it the same land? I mean, I know there's some land in the Bunker Road area, and there's some other land in the Sun Island Road area, but is it the same parcels?
this isn't.
This isn't, right. No, it's in the same area. Where
Right.
The towns.
The Bunker Road and Sun Island are the two parcels, areas that the airport has put out for RFP.
Right. Okay, but given that you've just explained those rules, we don't know what the town, or do we know what the town's rules would be around, if we vote for this, around how their lease would be? Are they going to have a similar setup?
They're probably going to go to an appraiser who's going to come with a similar valuation for the land.
Okay, so the chief just reminded me that some of these parcels we think may have already been set aside really for some town purposes. We need a building for marine purposes, and we've already established where that's going to be out there. The rest of them, again, we need to firm all up because some of this has different names from what it had before because of the subdivision plans filed. We have the board level, we have discussed this problem that's been brought up with the contractors need places to go and lease, but the town does not have the wherewithal to do that. We would probably do something like do an RFP for, a certain number of the parcels for a property management firm to actually do the leasing out and the managing of it. We haven't even thought about what type of revenue we would want to get from that. And most recently, the board said we are going to really wait until the fuel tank farm is more developed, until we can really know what parcels we might have that we don't have use for, that the town doesn't have use for. And we do have use for at least part of this for the marine building, to consolidate the marine stuff that's already there. So even if this is approved to authorize the board, we're not leasing anything for a while.
So this doesn't really solve the problem for anybody. And we would be voting on something that actually doesn't really exist, right? Because they don't have a plan. Or their plan doesn't match up with what the person sponsoring the...
It would appear to be the case. I think that there's probably a broader, what I'm hearing is there's a broader issue that may need to be
Right,
solved.
right.
And I don't think, the airport solution may not work for the
I got it.
individuals who've got the problem. This solution itself doesn't work because of call on other parcels
Right.
of the
Well,
land.
and plus, she's also assuming that it's going to be somehow a better deal than what the airport's offering.
And it
right?
may, yeah, I mean,
It could be.
On a straight
but
commercial
right now,
lease,
we
I
don't-
can't imagine-
We don't know that it's true.
right. No. So what's the pleasure? Is this a take no action article? Is this a,
Not to adopt.
Not to adopt,
not
I
to-
agree. Make a motion to not adopt. Article 14.
Any, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Article 15,
No comment?
you want to make a comment?
No comment.
Anybody else?
No.
Anybody want to be responsible for talking about this at town meeting? Because it's going to get probably pulled for a discussion.
What, the industrial end?
Well, I think we can just say what we just said. We were not comparing apples to apples.
Wasn't there an issue with the term thing too, the 5-year term? I thought at the selectmen public hearing, there was some discussion around it. That was a key piece of that, that I thought that the sponsor had brought up that they needed latitude for leases to be longer. So maybe in the original authorization, it wasn't longer than 5 years?
I need, again, the parcel descriptions have changed a bit over the years, I need to double check that, but the warrant article that I'm thinking of, that we already approved was for 99 years.
Oh, okay. So I thought there was a lot of focus on that, but I may be confused as well. And no, I don't want to speak to it.
Well, I think the advice to these contractors is just offer less. I mean, these RFPs, you can't offer less than the minimum suggested bid price. I mean, I agree those prices are high, but this isn't likely to solve the problem.
Yeah.
So maybe we can try to talk to the proponent outside of the meeting in the hopes that it doesn't get called, but I'm not
But-
volunteering today to be the person to step up.
Yeah, but
I mean, the bigger issue is the town may need the land, right? Isn't it the kind of
Yeah.
overwhelming?
But even
For
if we
these
vote
parcels.
on it, it's not going to solve the problem.
Pardon me?
It gives the Board of Selectmen the opportunity to do something that they may already have the ability to do, and it doesn't sound like there's any interest from the board to do it anyway.
Right.
So it wouldn't be the end of the world if it passed, is what it sounds
Fair
like.
Okay, moving on to Article 15, which is the extension of sewers on Bartlett Farm Road. This, I think we heard last time we met, there were some parcels that shouldn't be in this list, and the Board of Selectmen, acting as sewer commissioners, we don't have their recommendation in here, do we?
No, not, they voted to take no action.
It says, doesn't it?
That's the proposed motion for us. I think that's what Don said they were
Yeah.
leaning toward doing. I don't
Yeah.
know. They voted on it?
They did.
Last week.
Great. So,
So are we accepting the sewer commissioner's recommendation and take no action on the article?
Yes.
I think so.
yeah, is that the way it should be phrased rather than how it's phrased here? Finance Committee motion would be to support the sewer commissioners.
Well, you need a motion. So what we could do is, I just haven't added in the BOS comment yet.
Okay.
If you're so inclined, you can say move to take no action on the article, and then we can have, maybe we do BOS comment, to explain a little about it, take no action. If they want to have some.
See-
And you could do a comment that says we support, or you could just do a comment that says the sewer commissioners voted to take no action and we support that, so that's why that's our motion.
Personally, I would like the sewer commissioners to be on record in the warrant for their action they took. I mean, it's their domain and responsibility. And that would follow through, I think, on the next article as well. Whatever sewer articles, if they've all been voted.
Right. So is this not similar to the zoning articles and planning? We can't just say that we support the sewer commissioner's action?
We haven't done it like that in the past.
Okay. So then my motion is to adopt the motion as written, move to take no action on the article. And then so
Is there a
Second.
second on that? Discussion?
Can I ask one question? I'm drawing a blank. Who's Mary Ann Hanley?
She's an attorney for Gullickson,
She is representing Bartlett's.
et cetera, et
And what's
cetera,
the
representing
intent?
the
To
intent?
turn farmland to,
I would not want to explain for her what the intent is. But it sounds like we'd like some of these parcels to have access to sewer. Not some, but all.
All of them, right.
Started with David, I would like to see the comment come from the Board of Sewer Commissioners as opposed to
Yeah.
FinCom having to explain.
The proponent didn't come here
Yeah.
once to tell us, what the idea is, so I wouldn't feel comfortable making a comment on it.
I agree.
those properties 61A or 61B? Yeah. They've had it more than 10 years, so.
What was the effect of that?
Your taxes that you pay to the community are de minimis in comparison. And if you unload that property I'm not that well versed, but in a certain period of years, and you have to back pay all the savings that you save from not paying the town if you sell it for a different purpose. Usually you see it done with farmland, you see it with golf courses that are getting a benefit of not paying a high tax rate on the land.
And further, the town has a right of first refusal on the
Yeah.
61A parcels.
So I would concur and agree that we would definitely want the sewer commissioners to weigh in on this because of those implications.
And they have.
Yeah.
They are doing their comments next Wednesday. So we have to add it.
Yeah.
Or would we like to make a vote?
Okay, so we had a motion, we had a second. And if we voted, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but let's re-vote again. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's to take no action on the article. Article 16,
I'm sorry, so did you want to comment on?
No.
no, other than we'd like to select the Board of, the Sewer Commissioners to weigh in on top of our motion. Their comment first, then our motion.
Correct.
Article 16, another sewer map change. Warrow Lane. And I think there are two pieces to this. There's the sewer and then there's a zoning change.
Right.
Well, the planning board would appear to have supported the zoning change, and I believe the sewer commissioners voted for the property to come into the district, as I recall from their meeting on this. So,
I mean, it sort of looks like it ought to be analogous to the prior one, right? I mean, we ought to move to adopt, to support the planning board and Board of Sewer Commissioners' recommendations on this particular parcel.
Yeah. Second.
any further discussion? Chris, any? All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll do sewer commissioners' comments, which is to adopt it. It's on the sewer district, sewer district change. And then we'll have, what comes next, planning board?
But I think
Yeah,
that-
then we support the planning board's motion on the zoning change.
Okay, so underneath the sewer comment, you have your motion for that part of it?
Or you can put it together and just say the Finance Committee supports the recommendation of the sewer commissioners and the planning board.
I'll work back to see how it is.
Article 17 is a technical amendments to the zoning bylaw, which was, I think, Article 75 last at the annual town meeting. It's been divided up. And I believe that this had the support of the planning board.
Motion to adopt. I'm sorry. Jumped in.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 18, technical amendments again. Planning boards had their hearing, made their motions. I have a motion to support the planning board's motion.
So moved. Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Article 19, same drill.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Article 20. The planning board has made their motion. Support the planning board's motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
21, commercial storage containers. The planning board made their motion. New language with strikeouts. I have a motion from the member on supporting the planning board's motion.
So moved.
Second.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Libby, my question on Article 21 would be, is there any way that this is somewhat related to Article 14? If we say to the general contractors, they can't place their trailers on property anymore and they're looking for a place to put them? Or is that me overthinking?
I don't know what the planning board's thinking is here, but if the idea is to start allowing the storage containers, which I don't think are technically allowed now, then I think we top it up all. I can ask.
It looks like it's required, it's a special permit.
Yeah.
That's the word special.
It's special permit, but it's in 3 very small districts
Yeah.
and not in RC2 or RC. I mean, it's just not a lot of land you can do this on. I don't think this is creating new potential. I think this is restrictive. And I don't know if there's good rationale for it. I guess there is. They've reviewed it. They made it up, so.
I agree with Article 21. Well, I support that motion. But more a question.
Okay.
So I make a motion to accept the planning board's motion as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next article is Workforce rental community, zoning bylaw amendment, again, something that went to the planning board.
David,
Yep.
can I just interrupt? On 17 through 20, all of which were technical amendments that got booted because of sort of some of the craziness at town meeting. Is there any sense of the committee that we should actually add a comment and just simply say the FinCom commends the hard work of the planning board, and I forget what other groups, but they did a lot of work.
Well, they broke them out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure it has any political effect or not, but it just crossed my mind. I get the impression there's not a lot of support, so.
I don't think there is.
I mean, I don't know enough about any one of the individual things that I'd want to say you've done a lot of work on this. I mean, generally to say that they do a lot of work is true, and I'd support that statement, but, you know,
Yeah.
some of these I think have more merit than others, but I support them all. I just don't know that I want to go an extra thing beyond saying we support it.
Fair enough. Okay. Never mind.
So, workforce housing, there's a planning board motion. They've, add a new subsection that you can see, special permit. Pleasure of the committee. Support the planning board motion.
Yes.
Second.
Discussion. Everybody's happy? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
23 is a zoning map change. We have the planning board's recommendation. Have a motion
Motion to adopt
Second.
or support
or support the,
support the planning board.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Article 24 is a zoning change on South Shore Road. This is a citizens article, and it looks like the planning board voted to amend the zoning map to place certain parcels from LUG2 into R40. Or a motion to accept the planning board's.
Motion to support the planning
Planning
board's
board's.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Article 25, another zoning change.
Motion to support the planning board's motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Article 26 is a change to the Nantucket Planning Economic Development Commission makeup, removing the superintendent of public works from the lineup of members. And it looks like it's a home rule petition, so it's going to the general court. We have a draft motion in front of us. Any comment on the motion as written?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And the final article is establishing the regulatory authority to go to 20 mile per hour safety zones.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
We've got almost all of them.
So with that, we just have a couple, and if we can take care of some of them on Thursday,
So there's two that we didn't,
yeah, the
two.
fire station.
The fire station and the sewer one.
Yeah. So are we,
The thing you should focus on for Thursday is the Washington Street thing.
Right.
And then.
The funding source.
By, we won't have the selectmen's comments final until after next Wednesday, because we're specifically having a agenda. That's when station won't be till closer to the end of the month. So, I could, do a couple things. We could have another meeting to get at the sewer permit. Or, after, sort of talking out loud, after the selectmen have done their comments next week, I can send it around and the chair can say, that looks good, use that. If it does. And then we would be ready to go to print. Only exception being the fire station. That date will have to, we don't know the date.
Yeah.
Sort of hoping it might be able to be 30th, 31st, or even 1st. Absolutely have to. Because the work group's going to need a little time to meet. Well, OPM's going to need a little bit of time to review the bids.
Review the bids,
I don't
right.
know how they commit, I don't know how long it could take, but it's going to take some amount of time. 25th is a Wednesday, I believe. So, the work group, I just don't know if they're gonna be able to have a meeting by 30th. So,
But could we do it on the following Tuesday? So whatever that date is, that's 6 days out from town meeting.
that would be the 31st. So, hopefully, yes. Try to shoot for that, but I'm not gonna be able to meet at 4 o'clock.
I'm sorry?
I'm not gonna be able to meet at 4 o'clock.
On that day?
Because of the parade. No,
Yeah, 'cause I
you
have-
just gotta be at the
I did
parade, you gotta-
that thing together.
Oh, that's Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of counts me out too. Kids.
I'll hold my jokes.
I get on my broom.
Well, you know, do we do it? Look, we're supposed to meet on what, Thursday of that week in the morning anyway?
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
I mean, if we don't have to, it's going to be a quick meeting, so if we didn't have to drag everybody here to,
First, again.
for 5 minutes
Yeah.
or 10 minutes.
So just stay tuned on that a little. If need be, we could do it on the second.
Okay.
At your meeting anyway.
Yeah,
I just don't know how long it's gonna take to sort of go through and explain it.
all right,
So we'll have to stand by on that one.
yes. Okay.
Do we need to leave this meeting open? No. We decided
We don't
not
have to leave this
continue.
meeting open, do we?
No, on Thursday, we'll make a statement at the beginning of the meeting. You have this other business thing to take care of, and then at the end.
Okay. I can't remember the gentleman who was sitting behind you, unfortunately left because, but I guess the question is, do the selectmen have any intention of having a discussion with him about his proposal?
Was that Mr. Dinkler?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh. I don't
Wait,
know
wait,
yet,
wait.
but Brian is going to be meeting with him later this week, right? And there's, I don't think it's as straightforward as it sounds. Right?
What's your gut, Brian?
What's mine?
I'm sure you've had time to read it and look into it.
It would take a Herculean effort to get an override of that magnitude passed. And with an override, the first year you typically identify the projects that the money's going to be going to.
You can't just say extra
Considering
bank
I also
account.
said that I don't envision an override for any operating budgetary item, though I
Thank you.
don't see how it would fly this year, but that's.
I'm not sure, that based on a discussion Brian and I had earlier, that he knew everything that's already out there in depth.
All right, so if we can help or support, or you think it's appropriate for us to be to provide some airtime, I told him we weren't going to meet again until December.
Okay.
I mean, we were going to meet ahead of special town meeting, but to have that kind of a discussion. So, I don't know how the rest of the committee feels, but if you all think it's worth having a discussion, then we'd be happy to do it. Anyway. Any other business to come before the committee?
Is there anything we need to talk about in terms of Thursday's meeting and how this
Oh, yeah.
conversation is going to go with the joint Capcom Boston
Yeah,
Board of
do you-
Selectmen? Is there, how the program is expected to operate? Are we?
I think the Capcom's meeting tomorrow morning to kind of go over it. I think the idea is that they will kick it off and explain what types of things we've been working on for the summer, specifically the revision of the project request form and the development of a pretty robust project ranking formula. And the idea would be that this is I keep calling it a get on the same page meeting, so that we can, us and the committee can explain how we're planning to proceed with the review of the projects over the next couple of months. And it's evolved a bit over the last maybe 3 or 4 years. And I think it's actually a little bit more of a joint effort of town admin and Capcom, I would say, a little bit, with how the projects are going to get put forward. And the idea is more to have the 3 groups, Capcom, FinCom, and BOS, along the way, or at least a couple of times, meet together to have a discussion about the projects that we are looking at the beginning, and then at what we're going to end up with recommending, rather than 3 or at least 2 or more different meetings with each board.
Right.
So the project ranking process is very, Stephen Welch has done a very large amount of work on this, and it's basically a software application that you establish your criteria priorities at the beginning before you even look at any projects. What are the things most important to you? And each member does that individually, and then it's sort of pulled together as a group. And then same with us. And then every project is run through it, and it comes out with a numerical ranking, and that's how it gets ranked again. And do not ask me to explain mathematical, statistical formula, but Steve has a handle on it. So we need to talk tomorrow morning about, we don't need to get into that level of detail, because otherwise we're going to be there until midnight. But I think it'll really show that there's a lot of thought has gone into how projects are going to be prioritized. And it's this priority ranking, but it's also the departmental project request form and their presentations about where the project falls into other plans, how they came up with the number, make sure there's backup documentation for every item, what the potential operating cost impact might be. What's going to happen if we don't do it? And
I mean, if I could, I mean, it's a great opportunity to bring forward a lot of answers to questions instead of the Capcom asking cold questions of a department head up front. We can get a lot of answers to those questions if they fill out the form as best they can, and it hopefully will thwart some of the surprise projects that weren't on the budget last year for this year, which could be 40 or 50% of projects that we're addressing. So it's something that it stays in sequence and it gets to our systems. It also tends to, if you rank the thought process of how things become ranked, it removes some of the thought process of, well, that's my pet project and I want to push that through, whether it makes sense or not financially. So some of that we've seen in the past, or not seen, but maybe felt. So there's a lot of work, yes, that did go into the process, but if you put the work in at the beginning, hopefully our job is much more specific in nature instead of asking question number 1 when you really should be asking about question 99.
Is there a life cycle cost aspect to it? So
I'll answer your question, David, by saying there's probably 3 pages of questions, of which then Brian will summarize about a half page of his input on where the money comes from. Does it take a new full-time person? Does it need retraining or a person to be retrained? There's a lot that's going into the document that the department head, and I would, ask the chiefs, well, not ask, I would just say it's putting more onus of them to do the work up front, which hopefully then at the meeting it's much more, really, really focused. And it's a good for, if I'm an administrator of the town and I'm looking at these numbers from my department heads, the town administrator can say, gosh, we really did do exactly what we needed to do to get these projects approved internally and externally. It's what I'll be bold to say it's what private companies do all the time.
Right.
So Thursday, are we going to be looking at specific projects, or is this more an education on this whole new process?
It's more
process.
education on the whole process, but I did want to mention, there are a couple of departments that we are going to tell you are going to be sort of a reset from prior years, and they are DPW and sewer. And they are going to have projects coming forward in fiscal 19 that have not been on capital improvement plan before. There's been a much more comprehensive, detailed review specific to infrastructure improvements, and that's coming from DPW in particular, and sewer is in the process of developing its comprehensive plan. It's not quite done yet, but there are some projects in there that don't have exact, not estimates yet, and they don't necessarily have to be done in 19 or 19, but they're going to be new to not necessarily so in Capcom, but there's been
And that's a positive.
yes, a transition here.
Yeah, well, you have two new department heads, so,
Fresher eyes,
yeah.
different priorities.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. Well, I hope you all can make it. It sounds like I applaud you for doing this, and the capital planning process has come a long way. It sounds like a great step forward.
Okay.
Very good. I have a motion to adjourn. Thank you.